Okay, students, today, welcome. Today we will be talking about the chapter 2 of today's class, and we had already finished about economic development and HDI. So today we will talk about is measures of economic development. Okay, so this is chapter 2, and we will talk about is GNI. Okay, so what is GNI? It is called as gross national, okay, happiness index. Okay, so it's called as gross national happiness index. Okay, and we will talk about like how for this gross national happiness index is also important apart from HDI. So this is also a very important tool. Okay, so here in the previous classes we were talking about HDI, but now we are going to talk about is the gross national product or gross national index. Okay, so yes, first, to know about gross national happiness index, we need to know about what is green GDP. Okay, so let's start today and let's understand the meaning of green GDP. Okay, so just let's wrap this, and I will teach you with the help of a lot of examples. Okay, so I've got a lot of examples for you so that you understand it clearly. Okay, so let's write the heading green GDP. So what is green GDP? So GDP, as I said, is the gross domestic product. So what is gross domestic product? The goods and services which are produced inside the country, before the taxes are calculated in a year, is called as gross domestic product. Okay, so let us write here. So green GDP is a term used for expressing GDP after adjusting for environment degradations. Okay, so green GDP, as I said, is called as gross or green gross domestic product. So it's a term for using after whatever environmental degradations, whatever the environment problems we are facing, we minus that, and how much ever environment is left in a country, we calculate by way of green GDP. So as I told you that environment is very important for overall development also, and that is why today's class we will talk about measures of economic development. And because of measuring the economic development, green GDP is very important. Okay, so let us write more about green GDP. So let me just wrap this. So green GDP is an attempt to measure the growth of an economy by subtracting the cost of environmental damages and ecological degradations from the GDP. Now please understand this. See, initially, previously, in any country they were used to not think about green GDP, but now they're thinking that environment is also a very important tool. Got my point? And that is why green GDP is an attempt to measure the growth of an economy, by, when you subtract the cost of environment. So how much ever damages you're making, and, and how much ever, you're made a damage to the to the environment, and how much ever is left with us, that is called as green GDP. Okay, so this concept is a very new concept, so let me just write it down here that it's a new concept. So it is a new concept. It was not there before, as I told you. Okay, and it was first, you can say, initiated through a system of national accounts. Okay, and the system of national accounts in short is called as SNA. Okay, so this is what is a system of national accounts. See, it is an accounting system or a framework, where you measure all the economic activities of production, then you consumption, then how much you accumulate wealth in an economy during a period of time. So that is called as SNA. So let me just write it down. Okay, let me write what is the meaning of SNA. So you can write down here, or we can just write down that it is an accounting framework of measuring the economic activities of production, as I said, production, consumption, and accumulation of wealth of a country during a period of time. Okay, so during any period of time this is done. So it's an economic activity, and this is called as system of national accounts. It's a framework of measuring the economic activities of production, consumption, and accumulation of wealth. Okay, so now this is a process, and as I told you that it is first initiated, that when they were thinking about that, apart from economic activities of India or any country, and if you are only concentrating on production, consumption, and accumulating wealth will also not do, because we also have to see about the environment. So whatever is like remaining after destruction, or whatever, how much ever damage we have done about the environment, and whatever is remaining with us, that is called as the green GDP. So green GDP is very, very good for human development also. And nowadays in the whole world, they say that for happiness and for human development, we must also calculate green GDP. Okay, so I think now you've got the backdrop of green GDP, which is one of the very important measurements in economic development. So just like quickly, let me rub this. Okay, and yes, let me just rub this. So now let's see a relationship between green GDP and India. So green, okay, green GDP, okay, and India. Okay, so we will find a relationship between green GDP and India, how the environment in India is doing good, and how much is the green GDP in India, is it really good or not. So so now generally that is the sad part. If I tell you, the green GDP in India is not measured, it's not at all measured in India. But environmental accounting, we are doing environmental accounting, and it is done from past 20 years, but we don't have any green GDP. Okay, it is not measured in India, but we have an environmental accounting, and it is being done in India from past 2 decades or 20 years. Okay, so basically it is done by the statistical institute. So it is Central Statistics Office of India. In 1990 they were the ones who developed this environmental statistics, and they keep an they give an information to India government that how much we are doing in environment, but we are not calculating any green GDP. So we can just write down here, we are not measuring green GDP in India, but environmental accounting has been done in India from last 20 years. Okay, so as I told you, it is being done. Okay, and as I told you also, the report has been done. But most of the country people, the people who stay in India, they are trying to tell you that they have got a committee and they have given an audit nod also, and they said that more and more states should concentrate on the environmental audits. You must have an account separately for environmental accounting also. Okay, so that is why from now, like from 2001, from this accounting has been done. So we are calculating accounting for environment, but we do not have any green GDP measurement. Okay, so so that is what, so green GDP is not there. So green GDP, let me write here, is nil or absent in India. Now let us talk about gender equality. Okay, so because we are going to talk about is the measurement of economic development, so let us see the condition of gender equality in India. So let's write here gender inequality index. Yes, I repeat, gender inequality index. Okay, so gender inequality is a very very big problem in India. It remains a barrier to human development. So so let me write down here, it remains a major barrier to human development. Okay, so girls and women, so they have not gained any gender equality since 1990. They are doing good, but they still have a big problem in India. We do not have any gender equality, and especially the girls and the women have major problems since 1990. But they have tried, they have achieved, they have created, they have jumped, they have taken a leap, but still they are lacking behind. So there is a huge gender equality, and this is one of the reasons that our human development is failing in India. Okay, now the disadvantages, let us just talk about gender equality in detail. So let's just listen to me. See, generally the condition of the disadvantages of facing the women and the girls, they are the ones who are having a major source or major problem of inequality. So now where are they finding, or where are they having problems of inequality? Let us see. So women and girls are discriminated against health, education, political representation, labor market, etc. So basically in health, education, so health facilities, we don't concentrate more on girls and women. Education wise also we focus more on men and not on education. Then political also, if you see political parties, if you see 100 men in the political party, you find 100 men and you maximum find 5 women who are representing the government or the political system of a country, of our country. And labor market also, if you see jobs also, you will find men more, okay, and women are less, because there are many reasons that they say that women will get married, or they are weaker section of the society, or so most of the people are very insecure about women. And education wise also women are not doing so good right now, so there's a general discrimination. But I am basically focusing on the 4 parameters here where there are women and girls are discriminated, and there is a huge gender inequality index into the 4 parameters. Let us focus here. Let me put a pen here. So one, as I said, is health education. The next one is political representation. The next is labor market and jobs. Okay, so these are the places where you will find a lot of there's a lot of gender inequality. And if you talk about the mortality, so we'll talk about the death ratio also. So mortality rate also, if you talk about, in females, adult female males, and they are more, in number. Women are dying more, girls and women mortality rate is more. Okay, and that is why if you see the population also, you will find male at the age of 15 years, a boy is more than girls. So girls at 15, the population is less, and boys of 15, the population is more. Okay, so that is why, there is a distribution of achievements better than women and men also. So that is why, because of this, human development index is not happening good, and because of this major inequality also, if you see, it is a huge cost for us, for because of this gender inequality. Okay, so that is why, you remember here, let me tell you how it is affecting. Let me just write it down here. Okay, the higher the gender inequality index, so that is GII value, the more disparities. What is disparities? Problems. Okay, differences. So let me write down in bracket, differences between females and males, and the more loss to human development. Okay, so that means, what is the I'm trying to tell you, that the higher the GII value, so the more it is the gender inequality, it's the more it is high between males and females, the more is the loss to human development. Okay, so that is why, higher GII is very bad for a country, and especially in India. So that is why, if you talk about also, in India, if you talk about our position of women, we are in 159 women position in the world. Position of women in India compared to the world. Okay, so this is what is happening, and then there is a, so there is a lot of problem. So what is the gender indicator? So let me write about the indicators. So what we have to focus on, so what are the indicators of gender in inequality index? So let me just rub this. Okay, so GII. Okay, yes, and we can say dimensions and indicators. Okay, so first we have to focus, if we want to really see a very the difference between the male and female to reduce, then we should focus more on health. So health should be very good focus. This is for women, because we have a problem. The gender equality is basically for women and girls in India. So focus is on health. Then is empowerment. So we make the women empowered by giving them proper education, and giving them proper health facilities, giving them a lot of opportunities, equal opportunities. And we must also see that they have a lot of opportunities for labor market also. So opportunity should be there, so that female and male, the proportion is same. Like if you talk about jobs, so if there is a vacancy for 100 jobs, so there must be vacancy for 100 jobs irrespective of both. So both should have equal job availability. So that is the most important thing. So this is the indicators of GII, that is the gross inequality index, and that is very, very important. As I told you, it's a negative thing. So the more the GII is higher, the more it is bad for human development. Okay, so that is very, very important. So remember this, when you're studying also, that the dimension index is such that especially for health, especially when the child is the mortality rate should be less, death rate we must encourage women birth, child of girls should be born more in the houses, and we must reduce the mortality rate also. Okay, and at the same time we should give them higher and primary education and secondary education. Okay, we must give them more of nutrition, good nutritious food. Okay, and also in the parliament also, or in the political scenario also, they must participate a lot. Okay, labor force also should have equal participate. We should have a lot of women also working. So that is the way. So if we encourage, then if the GII gap will reduce, the more the GII gap is reduced, the more it is better. So that is very very important, because if you do not have the gap reduced, then it is a very very difficult process, and it is very very tedious also. Okay, so that is very important, and that is the reason that this gap should be reduced. The GII, that is a gross indicator, or inequality index, should be reduced. Okay, so as I told you also in the parameters, so measures of economic development, let's just talk about it. So measures of economic development. Okay, so we were talking about measures, so just let me wrap this. So measures of economic development. So the first one we discussed was on green GDP. So this is one of the measures which is very important. And then we spoke about GII, that is the gross inequality index. So that is also very very important, because if you talk about it, that is also gender, or it's called as, so let me write it down here, gender inequality index. Okay, so that is also, as I said, because it remains a major barrier to human development, and girls and women, they are striving hard since 1990. The progress has happened, but it's still less. And yes, we also spoke about the parameters. So we spoke about the dimensions or indicators of gender inequality index, and here we spoke about is health. Then we spoke about how the health facility should be done from from the adolescent side. Just when they are small, they must be having a lot of nutrition, mortality rate should be lessened. And then we were also focused on the empowerment, like there must be women empowerment also. And if you see Pradhan Mantri Yojana, and women empowerment has become very big right now in India. Okay, so secondary education, we must focus not only on primary education, we must see that the women are studied till how much ever they can study. So at least minimum education should be 12th standard. Okay, and there must be a minimum quota for females in the parliamentary. Okay, so female and male shares of parliamentary seats should also be there, and there must be always, come what may, there must be a percentage of females be there present in the parliament. So that is also very important. And labor market, yes, when we are talking about labor market, female and male labor force participation should be equal. Okay, and only if, because of this reasons only, if the GII gap is reduced, then the overall, then the HDI is also goes high. Okay, so green GDP and then GII. We will talk about the next one, that is gross national happiness index. Okay, so let us talk about the next one, gross national happiness index. Okay, so it is also called as GNHI. Okay, now what is gross national happiness index? So it is a term, it's a term which is very famous also, and now it has become one of the most important tools for HDI. Okay, and I had told you, remember in the previous class also, when I'm going to talk about HDI, I'm going to talk more in general about the parts or the measurement of economic development. Now GNHI is also very very important. So now this gross national happiness index, okay, or gross national happiness, so it's like GNH, GNH. So it's a term which was founded by His Majesty. Now this is a very interesting one, guys. His Majesty, the fourth King of Bhutan. Okay, so the fourth King of Bhutan, what is his name? Let's just write down. Jigme Singye Wangchuk. Okay, so in 1970s he had created this concept, and he termed it as gross national happiness. And if you know that Bhutan is one of the most happiest countries in the world, okay, so His Majesty the fourth King of Bhutan, that is Jigme Singye Wangchuk, in 1970s, this concept, he said that if you really want to be happy and if you want to have sustainable development, you must have a holistic approach. So please remember this holistic approach of life, overall development. So why is this important? For sustainable? Sustainable means if you want to live for a long time, forever and ever, continuously you must be happy, then it is called as sustainable development. And basically the idea is to have a holistic approach. Okay, so holistic approach is very important here. And it also gives you that not only economy, like money is not very important. Money is important, but apart from economic factor, there is non-economic factors also we must concentrate, because for the well-being of the country, or for the for the citizens of the country, there must also be non-economic factors also. So here Mr. Wangchuk, he focused mostly in his country, because if you see, Bhutan is a very poor country, but they are very happy because their basic standard of living is very sufficient, and they can sustain forever and ever, and their dreams are also very less, and they are very happy because overall development is happening in the country. For they are health wise, they are very good, and they are having this overall holistic approach where they are very happy and contented with the life. They have zero health issues in the country. Okay, and the king is concentrating on this. He's concentrating more on, so let me just write here, King of Bhutan, fourth, is concentrating more on non-economic factors. Okay, and according to him, these are the aspects of well-being. So he is concentrating more on the well-being. He is concentrating more on the holistic approach. So what is holistic? That means overall development. So according to him, it's not only money. Okay, so he says, like, how are you? So when we ask, when I ask it, how are you? So we ask this question, most of the times, that are you okay? Even if a rich person is having a lot of money, we still ask them, how are you? So this is like, how are you doing as a country, as a society? Are you helping each other? So that is the question, where Bhutan is also talking about, is gross national happiness index. Okay, so that is why he says, because the countrymen are taking care of each other, and every now and then they keep on asking, how are you doing? Are you happy? And so Bhutan uses this as a gross national happiness index. Okay, so let us just have some statistics here, where I can give you a comparison, and I can tell you that how Bhutan has well developed this. And the whole world is looking at Bhutan and learning lessons from this small tiny country in one part of the hill. Okay, so what is so special in Bhutan that everybody wants to ape Bhutan, or imitate Bhutan? So that is also very important. Okay, so that is also very important as such. Okay, so we will talk more in detail about Bhutan. Okay, so as I told you also, if you talk about in 2015, okay, so if now let's just go a little back. Now 2013, if you talk about, a total of 91.2% of Bhutanese. Okay, so Bhutan people are called as Bhutanese. Okay, so they were very, very not very happy. They were very, very sad, and they're very sad people. 2015, I'm talking this. So that means it's just 5 years this concept has been created. Okay, and 43.4% were extensively or deeply happy. So this is the statistics, guys. You remember this: 91.2% of the Bhutanese were narrowly or extensively. So narrowly, okay. So they were narrowly happy, and 43.4% were extensively or deeply happy. Okay. So the aim of Bhutan. So what is the aim of Bhutan? Bhutanese or the Bhutan king wants that all the countrymen should be extensively or deeply happy. So he doesn't want narrow happy, he wants extensively. Please focus on this: extensively or deeply happy. Okay, so GNH, that is gross national happiness, is a much richer objective than GDP or economic growth. Okay, so in GNH, material well-being is important, but it is also, very important to be self-sufficient and well-being. And you must have a community, you must love the community, take care of the community, do community service, think about your culture, think about the governance, think about your near neighboring people, look after their well-beings, ask each other, be happy. So materialistic is important, but well-being of the community, culture, governance, then knowledge, then wisdom, how much you can earn knowledge, so many, because if you see, there are many people